Hey everybody, what's up? It's just another day of me trying to get this space together. And I've actually managed to find the time, and I cut off all of my face hair, so I probably look a little bit weird. But I bounce back and forth. Anyway, I digress. So the reason why I wanted to make this video is because I wanted to share with you just something that happened yesterday and into today dealing with Comcast. Now, if you're not from the United States, you may not know about Comcast, or maybe they're just infamous around the globe. So Comcast is pretty much like the biggest telecommunications provider in this country that provides households and businesses with internet service and phone service and cable service. And they have really bad rapport with customers. They have some of the worst customer satisfaction ratings out of all these telecommunications companies that provide internet and cable and television. And to be honest, most of them aren't really favored because they got these little monopolies going on. Of course, they can't come out and say that they're doing a monopoly because monopolies are illegal. But when you have one section of a city that's only serviced by Comcast, and then you go like across the street and this other people like, oh well, we can't get Comcast here. Or if they're like, well, Comcast is the only people who will serve you, even though this other person has like AT&T and they live like a block away. That's kind of ridiculous. So anyway, that's not the reason why I'm sharing this with you. Now, because Comcast has such a stranglehold on just about everything that has to do with internet and cable and things like that, I'm enforced to go along with them. I've had Comcast for years. No matter where I live, no matter where I go, they're always like, if you want to have some service that has some resemblance to modern technology, you've got to go with Comcast. You could go with some other company, but you'll be paying too much for speeds that are way too slow. So if you want to feel like you're in the 21st century, or at least looking at the 21st century from down the street, hey, 21st century, how you doing? Then you have to go with Comcast if you want to have those speeds. So Comcast came through here yesterday, and I ended up getting like that triple play package. I just care about internet, but my girlfriend wanted all of it. She wants the cable and the DVR and everything. So I'm like, all right, we went along with it. And of course, if you bundle everything together, you get a cheaper price. So we end up getting everything together. The guy comes in and he installs the cable, he installs the internet. Everything's fine. I check on it. Okay, everything's looking good. A-okay, all right. So he leaves. And I'm enjoying my internet. I'm enjoying, the television and everything like that. But just like Comcast, it never lasts. So I'm on my computer and I go to YouTube. I want to look at a YouTube video, and then it starts buffering. This is 480p, just basic standard definition. It starts buffering. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So I'm waiting a little bit, and then eventually YouTube has to degrade its quality down to like 240p and 144p in order to just keep up with the video so it can play without any interruptions. And when it gets that low, then that's when things start to get like really pixelated, and really, if there's words, you can't read them, and everything just looks really ugly. And I'm like, why is it doing that? It's super slow. So I go to speedtest.net and I test the speeds of my connection, and we have blast internet, and I can't remember off the top of my head how fast those advertised speeds are, but let me tell you, when I ran the speed test, I was getting like between 2 and maybe 2.5 megabits per second down, and about 4 or 5, maybe 6 up. Way slower than it should have been, much slower than it should have been. Now I'm doing this on my laptop on a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi band. Now let me just stop and back up for a minute. The equipment that I have from Comcast, I didn't bring in my own router. I have one of their gateways, which is like a modem and a router and like a telephone thing. You plug the telephone in and make the telephone work. It's kind of like one of those all-in-one things. So that particular gateway that they gave me, it has 2 Wi-Fi bands that you can connect to. It's the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi band, and then there's the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi band. Now 2.4 is the most common. A lot of wireless devices use 2.4, not just things that connect to the internet, but microwave, baby monitors, walkie-talkies, a whole array of things use the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum. And because of that, it can become really, really crowded, and your speeds could get slower because you have all these different things just funneling into that 2.4 gigahertz band, so it can slow you down. 5 gigahertz is a lot less crowded because less devices use it. And if you have a device that does use it, maybe most people don't realize that they can switch to a 5 gigahertz band where it's far less crowded and it's a lot faster. The range may not be as wide as 2.4, but you get less crowds. So I tested the 5 gigahertz band on my iPhone 6 Plus and on the Xbox One because they both support both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi bands. So when I do the speed test on the iPhone connected to the 5 gigahertz band, I'm getting like 45, 50 down and like 10 up really fast. I downloaded update from my Xbox. It went, reasonably fast, no problems there. The PS4 was connected through Ethernet, so I didn't see any problems with that. But that 2.4 gigahertz band was way too slow, much too slow. So I connect my iPhone to the 2.4 gigahertz band, thinking maybe it's my laptop, maybe my laptop's Wi-Fi radio antenna or whatever, maybe it's getting old and dying. So I connect the iPhone to the 2.4 gigahertz band, and what happens? Same thing. Stupid, ridiculous, slow speeds. What's going on? So I did some research and I found out something that I think could be interesting to you. This is not new news, but it could be new to you because it was new to me. So not too long ago, Comcast decided to do something that was kind of sneaky. They started employing this public Wi-Fi thing. It's called like this Xfinity home hotspot thing into their routers. The router modem combo that they gave me. If you have Comcast and you click on the Wi-Fi connections, you may come across something that says like Xfinity Wi-Fi, and it's totally different from what you may have named your particular Wi-Fi connection. Because, for example, you may name yours, like, let's say me. I might name mine, let's say Jeremy. And then I go to the connections and I see Jeremy, that's the one that I set up. But then I also see Xfinity Wi-Fi, and it's like, what is that about? Turns out, what Comcast did was they made these modem router boxes, they made them so that they would put out another Wi-Fi signal to the public. Which means if someone else were to just stroll through here and they also happen to be a Comcast customer and they just wanted to get on the internet because maybe they're visiting somebody or just whatever, just in the area, they could log on with their Comcast credentials through that Wi-Fi hotspot that I'm putting out and access the internet. Now, even though they're not necessarily using my Jeremy connection, they're using a connection that's coming from my router. So it's a very strong possibility that because of what they're doing could affect my experience that I'm paying for. Now here's the really messed up part about that. There was, or maybe it still is, but we'll see, a way to disconnect that. You would go into your settings on your Comcast account, go into your account settings, and there was this link that said manage Wi-Fi. And that link was supposed to take you to a page where you can disable that public Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspot. But for a long time, that link has been broken. I've clicked on that link so many times and it keeps saying, oops, something went wrong, try again later. Try again, over and over and over. Oops, something went wrong, try again later. Something went wrong again, try again later. Almost as if they're trying to prevent you from turning off that public hotspot. Well, how do you get it turned off? Well, you have to call Comcast and tell them, hey, get me out of here, opt me out of that. And a lot of people have done that, only to come back sometime later and found out that somehow the Xfinity hotspot has turned itself back on. So then they got to call again, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off, because they don't want their personal experience being bogged down. And although I'm not positive about this, I'm willing to assume that the Xfinity public hotspot that's being put out on your routers is most likely running the 2.4 gigahertz band because that's the most popular one. And I'm in an apartment complex, and if Comcast has all of these units, servicing all these units, and we're all putting out these public hotspots and things, it could just take your speeds and just down. 2.4 gigahertz, virtually useless, and it is completely ridiculous. So I had Comcast turn that off. How do I know if it's turned off? Well, I have to take their word for it, because from what I can tell on this wireless gateway thing, there's nothing that says Xfinity hotspot router, and there's a light that says whether it's off or on. And did you also know that there was a way to turn that off simply by going to this IP address to access the Xfinity router? I can't remember what it was. If you look it up on Google, you'll find it. It was something like 1.0.0.1, something like that in the address bar, and it takes you to the settings for the router, and you can do something called enable bridge connection. What enable bridge connection does is it basically shuts off the Wi-Fi coming from the router that Comcast gave you in case you want to use a router of your own. So that will shut off Comcast router communication so that you can bring in something else that you bought, and it would also shut off the Xfinity public hotspot thing that you were broadcasting even though you didn't want to. That used to be a fix, but now I'm hearing that it was some sort of an update that made it so that when you enable the bridge connection, it still doesn't kill the Xfinity hotspot, it still sticks around. So what in the world do you do? I'm going to tell you what I did, okay? Since I was pretty much sure at this point that my laptop, there was nothing wrong with it, that it was just whatever Comcast did to that router was making my 2.4 gigahertz connection extremely slow, I am a T-Mobile customer. And a while ago, T-Mobile introduced this special offer for its postpaid customers, meaning the people who, T-Mobile doesn't have contracts anymore. But if you're one of those people who, you pay every month from T-Mobile, they bill you every month, and then you can get a phone from them and you pay installments on it if you want to do that. Though it used to be like a contract thing, but basically it's just postpaid now. So not prepaid customers, but postpaid customers. What we can do is T-Mobile's giving these things that they call personal cell spots, T-Mobile home cell spots. And it's basically a router. But T-Mobile wanted to enhance Wi-Fi calling for its customers. So if we were living in a place that didn't get a very good T-Mobile signal reception when you're making calls, you could get this router from them and use Wi-Fi calling on your phone if your phone supports it. And as long as you have a strong internet connection, you would also have a strong cell signal to call whoever it is you want to call, and you don't have to worry about drop calls. But the cool thing about this is the router that T-Mobile is giving is actually the same ASUS created router that sells for like $200 on Amazon. It is a very good award-winning router, and the only thing that T-Mobile did was tweak it for the Wi-Fi calling, and then they just put the branding on it. But it's essentially the same awesome dual band router. So if you are a T-Mobile customer, you can go into the store, say, hey, I want the personal cell spot, and they will give it to you for $25, a $25 deposit. You don't have to pay for it every month or anything like that. It's just whenever you decide that you're not going to be a T-Mobile customer anymore, you just have to mail it back to them. So I went there today and I got that router. They waived the $25 fee. So I walked in, and within like 6 minutes I walked out with essentially a $200 router, didn't pay a thing. So I brought it home. I went to that 1.0.0 whatever so I can access the Comcast gateway router. I enabled the bridge connection, it killed off the Wi-Fi, and then I just plugged in the ASUS router that I got from T-Mobile. And I just set that up, same way that you set up any kind of router, same situation. Then I tried it again. 2.4 gigahertz on my laptop after it was all set up through the ASUS router. You know what speeds I got? I went from essentially between 1.5 to 2.5 megabits per second down to about 40 down and 11 up. I essentially got about 20 times faster download speeds and about twice as fast upload speeds simply by switching the router. Whatever Comcast did to that all-in-one, oh, it's so convenient because everything is in one box router, destroyed my internet connection speed for the 2.4 gigahertz band. Now that I got this ASUS router, my speeds are stupid fast. And the 5 gigahertz band is even faster. On 5 gigahertz, I'm getting like 60 up and about 12, or 60 down and about 12, 13 up. So if you are having a problem with your Comcast, Xfinity internet speeds and you're like, why is it so slow? Why is it so slow? It might just be that same 2.4 gigahertz band that's slowing you down, especially if you live in an apartment or just a place where there's a lot of people around. So if you're not a T-Mobile customer, I still just say go out and just get another router. Some people say get your own modem and just cut Comcast out altogether. That's another thing that you can do. But if you just want to go one direction, just get another router. Hook up that other router. All right, have the Comcast one shut off. Go look online. You can find it pretty easily on how you can access the settings for that router. Enable the bridge mode, have it turn off, and then just plug in your new router. It doesn't have to be a $200 router like the ASUS one is. Try any router. Try any dual band, reasonably good router, something that costs you not a whole lot of money, but not something that's like bottom of the barrel dirt cheap. Try to get some power out of it and see what that does. If it doesn't work for you, you can always return it. But that worked for me. I switched the router and my speeds, I don't even think there's a word for it. It's more than double, more than quadruple, more than however. It was like 20 times faster download speeds. So that's something that I experienced today, and I really hope that this helped. I know this was a long, rambling thing, but just so many issues with Comcast, and this is just another situation that I hope if I can spread it around and let you know how you can fix it, or steps that you can take to fix it, or at least provide some sort of explanation as to why you're having problems. That's all I want to do. So thank you so much for watching me ramble on for about 10 minutes or however long this has been. Go out if you're having this problem, get another router, and get what you pay for, because I don't know what they've done to these things, but it's just ridiculous. So good luck, and I'll talk to you later.